Okay guys, we got a 98 Chevy with a Vortec in it, 5.7. Fuel is coming out the overflow on the tank with the key on. With the key off, it stops coming out. So we're going to see if we can troubleshoot this problem and make this stop happening. So let's get up underneath and I'm going to pull the tank, show you how to troubleshoot it and take care of this problem. Okay, here we are up underneath. Now this has a saddle tank and there's a strap here and there's a strap there. This is the front of the vehicle. That is the back of the vehicle. You know, sometimes it's difficult to tell with the camera view. So I'm on the driver's side, right behind the back seat, right where the fill tube is actually. A lot of people like to pull these beds off and access them that way. It's really ignorant. If you've done these before, you know. If you haven't done these before, take my word for it. Just drop the 2 saddle bolts. You drop these 2 saddles, you put a jack right here and just lower it down. The cables and the plumbing for the pump, there's plenty of room, plenty of wire, plenty of hose for that to flex, for you to get in there and disconnect, change pump, whatever you have to do. If you go on bolting all these bed bolts, and everybody says it's easy, oh, it's like 4 bolts or it's 6 bolts, you still have to lift the bed up. And I promise you, if it's a 1999 or older, you're going to have some huge issues with those bolts. They always strip. And then everybody always says, oh, well, it would have been if that bolt wasn't rusty. Take my word for it. Don't waste your time. You're going to open up a can of worms. Just drop these 2 bolts. It's so simple. It's stupid. I don't know why people like to pull the beds off, but some claim it's easier. So we got a 15 millimeter socket with about a 1 foot extension. We want to come down to about here. If you have air, great. If you don't, just ratchet it out. So let's get the jack up underneath here. I'm not going to put any pressure on the jack. I'm just going to hold it right there in the middle. I'm going to bust loose that bolt down there, bust loose this bolt down here, get out, and lower my jack. That's it. So let's get those out. Okay, so the jack is now in the middle. Both straps are down. Literally took 2 minutes to do that. So simple. 15 millimeter, about a foot worth of extension. Okay, so at this point, normally I wouldn't do this next step because I'm able to get right up in here. I'm a skinny guy. And I can get up in there and see everything when I lower this tank. But I want to make a better view for you for this video. So here's our next step. We're going to go around now, right here, to the lines. We're going to disconnect that hose and the one right above it for the return. We're going to disconnect it. Both take a screwdriver. And I like to use the short, stubby, straight screwdriver because you can get in there easier. So either that or you can use a wrench. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. So we're going to pull that one. And I think you can see, I hope, I don't know, right there is the other one. So that's the overflow, and this one here is the fill neck tube. So let's disconnect both of those. Now, I like to disconnect those at this line right next to the body rather than the tank. I don't like to reach up in there and disconnect it. And the reason is when we put it back in, it's easier because this will actually pop up around the frame and help you support a little bit and keep things straight. So all right, let's go ahead and disconnect both of those. And again, we wouldn't normally do this. It's just for the view today. So let's disconnect both of those and we'll get this tank lowered. Okay guys, very simple process. Took less than, I think, 8 minutes altogether, maybe 6. So I lowered the jack down. Once I got the jack down, I just teetered up one side, pulled the jack out and set it down. And now you can see, you totally have access to everything. You can see the lines are long enough, the wire is long enough, and I'm literally sitting on the ground right now. And this tank is extremely heavy. It's probably 3/4 of a tank. This way, this process is so much easier. And you have access to everything now. So, and your fill tube line, the overflow is all right there where you can get at that if you need to. So right here is our vent tube, and this is where fuel was pumping out of. So let me get up in there and now we'll show you what we're gonna do. Easy process. Don't waste your time pulling this bed. If you haven't done it before. If you've done it before and it is quicker for you, hoorah, good for you. But if you haven't done it before, again, you're opening up a can of worms with rusty bolts and etc. You're going to be changing body bolts, body mounts probably, all that good stuff. And you still have the wiring on your lights as well that need to come off, and most people forget about that. Your lights are in the bed, so those wirings have to come off. They unclip them. Some guys like to pivot it and just turn it enough to get underneath it. It's still a pain in the butt, especially if you're by yourself. If you're by yourself, this is the easiest way to do it. So if you have 2 or 3 guys help you lift that bed off, then, you know, and I've seen guys use 2x4s and use I don't know, hoist and all that stuff, but it seems like so much work to even get all that type of tools set up and ready. Just drop the tank. Okay, so let me get up underneath there and let's figure out what we're doing. Okay, so I just went and checked the email that I got from my website at backyardmechanic.org, and somebody's actually asking about a fuel pump on this, so we're going to go ahead and remove it too. So I'll put it in the description and put it in the beginning too, I guess. Make sure everybody knows that they need that. If not, they can clip through it. So let's go ahead and disconnect the fuel lines. We're going to disconnect all three of these lines here, and we'll go ahead and take off this hose, unclip the wiring. Let's go ahead and pull the tank out. I wasn't going to go this far, but like I said, I just got that email, so let's go ahead and help somebody out. Okay guys, just want to give you a quick rundown of what I did. 5/8 and 11s, or 5/8 and a 3/4, disconnected both those lines. This line just took a pair of pliers. The clip unclips, and this ground wire is a 1/2-inch bolt on top of the frame. And now this wire here, let me tell you a little bit about this wire. If you have a fuel tank that's reading over full all the time, whether it's half full, 3/4 full, it's always over, not just full, but past the full mark. This wire is not connected, you're not grounded. So just find that wire and ground out your tank. That'll solve that issue. Let's get the tank pulled up out of here now. Now we've ridden to this whole project now 15 to 18 minutes. So again, much easier. All right, let's pull the tank. Okay, so I got the tank pulled out of the way here. Now we're going to take loose the top cap. Before we do that, let's spray a little air around here and clean this up just a little bit, just so we minimize how much stuff goes inside the tank. And there's a funny story about this. Let me educate you on something else. So I've heard stories about people putting cinnamon in the fuel tank and ruining a guy's engine, putting sugar in the fuel tank and ruining a guy's engine. There's all kinds of stories about that. Let's be honest. Let's think about this for a second. That is entirely not possible. And the reason is because there's a fuel filter, and you know this, connected to this line. It would stop and plug up the fuel filter. So there's another little educational tip for you. You're not going to hurt anybody's engine by putting gas or sugar in their fuel tank. It's not going to happen. It's an old wives' tale. So, all right, let's get this cleaned off. Okay, so I hit it with a wire brush and give it a little bit of air. We're good there. Not worried about the stuff way over there, just around the edge a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the screwdriver on there, tap it with a hammer. And there we go. So I twisted it around till the ring popped up. Now the entire assembly pulls out. Let's take it out and take a look in there. Okay, so here's our fuel pump. Now, this is a very common problem. This doesn't have the problem, but you may have. You see this little rubber hose right here? They like to crack. Sometimes when people swap them out, they don't swap them with the proper hose, and the fuel will eat away at it and crack it. Or sometimes they're not tight. And the way that you know that that's your problem with your fuel pump, because you're not getting fuel, is simply just take off the cap and listen when you turn the key on. You'll hear the pump kick on, run for a second, and then shut off. During that process of it running, if you hear fuel dripping back into the tank, it's because it's spraying out of here. Even if the gas level is up to here, like this tank, it's about this full. Even if the gas level is at that high, this will still shoot gas up past that and back in. So you will hear kind of a waterfall effect, or a spraying water, if you would, like a pump on a swamp cooler when it's about out of water. So you'll hear that. If you do hear that, it's probably this hose here is the problem, not the fuel pump. So you have your float here, you have your sock here. I like to call it a primary filter because it filters the fuel before it goes into the pump. And so I don't see any issues with this pump here, but to give that gentleman the idea of what's going on with his, it's this hose right here is the problem. And you're just going to replace that hose, not the pump itself. And you can just go down to any auto parts store, and it's just a few cents to fix that problem. Alrighty, so we'll get back to the situation with the vent. Now I pulled the vent tube out right here, and it's completely clear. Everything's good on it. Somebody has changed it, modified it. They took off the check ball, and they welded this pipe to extend down to the bottom. And so that's the problem with this tank. This particular tank was building pressure from the heat and the gas and letting it rise right out this tube and spray out. So I don't have an actual issue with this tank other than that. So alrighty, let me get this pump back in. Now there's one other thing I want to talk about real quick, and I'm spending more time talking than I am working. But I just want to educate all of you as best I can. Let's take a quick look inside this tank.
And this is actually a normal tank. Where you would think there was a lot of dirt, there's really not. This is the inside of the tank here. You can barely see any dirt at all. And here's the beauty of this. A lot of people believe in, and again, I'm bringing this up because I just had another question about an additive. Should I add an additive? Should I not add an additive? The additives that clean this tank, they claim to clean your fuel. They're right. They work immaculate. They work great. It's like liquid Drano though. So when you put it in the tank, any debris that's on the bottom of the tank, this one doesn't have it. But if you're worried that you have some, any debris that's in there, that stuff works so good that it mixes it up, comes through the fuel pump and into the fuel filter, and guess what? It clogs you. So if you're having an issue where you think there's dirt in your tank, or debris or whatever is in your tank and you're wanting to clean it with that stuff, my recommendation to you is leave it down at the bottom of the tank where it belongs. Don't put it in your filter or in your $200 pump. Just leave it there. Plus you're saving the money from not buying the darn stuff anyway. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because it does work, but it works so good you cause more issues to this tank rather than just leaving it in there. So little hint for you there before you waste your money. Alrighty, so this particular one I'm going to go ahead and put back together, and I'll walk you through it if you need to walk through it. I'll throw that in a separate video because I don't think that you'll need that. So a couple pointers here. The wives' tale about the sugar, no. The fuel additive, you know about that. Drop the saddle tanks. Don't waste your time lifting this bed. There's videos out there that say, oh, there's only 8 bolts, but then he breaks a bunch of stuff. And then he makes a comment, this is so easy and I don't know why people drop it from the bottom in a sense like I did. And then he says, at this point, we're at 2 hours. It's like 2 hours. I could do 3 of these within that amount of time. And that's with taking a lunch. So don't waste your time doing that. And again, here's your fuel pump. If you need to change it, all you're going to do is just bust loose these 2 clamps, unclip this, pull it out, put another one in. Some may require you to change the color code. If you have to do that, just look at the color, snip the wires, cut them back in. Don't do it on this side of the filter. Always do them on the outside. Your float, if it's not moving properly like this, if it's not making a connection, that's your problem with your gauge. Reading a quarter tank when you have a half a tank and vice versa. You know about the ground wire. If you're reading overfull, if you're not reading any fuel at all, no matter how much you put in there, that would be this float sensor. It's bad. So I guess that's it. I hope this video helps you out. Please click like. Please click subscribe. Visit me at backyardmechanic.org for any of my other how-to things. Click on my name underneath the video for all my other how-to videos. Again, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for all your comments. Thank you for your patience, because you know that I'm trying to explain everything in detail for people that don't know. And you're welcome to skip ahead. And that's it. Enjoy.